Anakin Skywalker, one of the most iconic characters in film history, if not as Anakin, then definitely as Darth Vader. He is essentially the main character of Star Wars. Everything revolves around him. It's not called the Skywalker saga for nothing. He is the chosen one. But what if he had suddenly died? What would have happened to Palpatine and his plans, Ahsoka, and many others? One thing is certain. The Star Wars we know would not exist. This video idea comes from a viewer who asked, what if Anakin had died? So here's a what-if scenario for you. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe. But first of all, if Anakin had died, Star Wars couldn't have happened the way it did. How could it, without the main character? Most of the characters we love wouldn't even exist. Luke, Leia, Kylo Ren, and so on. This means that without Anakin, the story can't unfold the way it actually did. Just wanted to get that out of the way and enjoy the story. It all starts in episode 15 of the 4th season of the Clone Wars. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker are chasing the notorious bounty hunter, Rocco Hardeen. But in a shocking twist, Hardeen targets Anakin instead of Obi-Wan and pulls the trigger. The shot hits Anakin in the chest, and he collapses. For a brief moment, time seems to stand still. Anakin's death, the shocking ripple. As Anakin Skywalker's body lies on the ground, the galaxy's fate is forever altered. For Obi-Wan Kenobi, everything moves in slow motion. The horror of losing his former Padawan is overwhelming. Obi-Wan watches the light fade from Anakin's eyes, the hope of the Chosen One extinguished in an instant. What should have been a routine mission turns into the worst nightmare. Far away on Coruscant, in the Supreme Chancellor's office, Palpatine feels a sudden disturbance in the Force. He drops his datapad. His sharp mind is suddenly clouded with rage and confusion. Anakin was supposed to be his future apprentice, the one to help him reshape the galaxy under Sith rule. The loss is a huge blow to his plans. Fueled by anger, Palpatine acts quickly. He learns that Rocco Hardeen is responsible. The assassin is tracked down, captured, and brought before the Chancellor. Palpatine, with eyes full of hatred, doesn't waste time. He unleashes a storm of Force lightning on Hardeen, pouring all his rage into the attack. Hardeen's screams fill the room. The act does little to ease Palpatine's anger. He feels vulnerable for the first time in years. But Palpatine is adaptable. His mind, sharp and clever, starts recalculating his plans. Anakin is gone, but his ambitions will not end. He will find another way. He always does. With Anakin's death, the Jedi Order is thrown into chaos. The Jedi Council, reeling from the loss of one of their strongest warriors, struggles to keep control. Yoda and Mace Windu hold emergency meetings, trying to keep the fractured order together. Without Anakin, the Clone Wars become even more dangerous, and the Jedi's hold on the galaxy weakens. Obi-Wan is devastated. Losing Anakin is not just the loss of a friend, it's the loss of a brother and a future that will never be. Guilt and sorrow weigh heavily on him. He had trained Anakin, fought alongside him. Now, that hope is gone. Obi-Wan's self-doubt leaves him a shadow of the confident Jedi Knight he once was. In his solitude, Obi-Wan reflects deeply, haunted by the belief that he has failed Qui-Gon Jinn. His former master's dying wish was for Obi-Wan to train Anakin, believing in the boy's potential as the Chosen One. Now, with Anakin gone, Obi-Wan feels he has not only failed the Jedi Order, but also betrayed the trust that Qui-Gon placed in him. The weight of this perceived failure crushes Obi-Wan's spirit even further, leaving him questioning his purpose and his place within the Force. However, Obi-Wan ultimately finds his resolve. In his heart, he knows he must continue the fight, not only for the Jedi Order, but also in honor of Anakin. He vows to carry on the battle against the darkness that has taken so much from him. He decides that though he has lost many, he will not lose himself. Obi-Wan finds a renewed sense of purpose, determined to do everything he can to protect the galaxy. Ahsoka Tano, meanwhile, is lost in her own storm of emotions. Anakin had been her mentor, guide, and friend. His death leaves her adrift, filled with anger and sorrow. When accusations arise against her for the bombing of the Jedi Temple, she finds herself alone. Anakin, who would have supported her, is gone. Obi-Wan, who is too focused on himself, cannot offer her the support she needs. The Jedi Council, already strained by the war and Anakin's sudden death, handles her situation poorly. They distance themselves, questioning her loyalty, pushing Ahsoka into a corner. Her sense of betrayal deepens, and she begins to question everything she believed in. Expelled from the Order, Ahsoka walks away, her heart heavy with bitterness and a growing darkness. Palpatine, always perceptive, watches Ahsoka's fall with interest. He sees in her potential, even if it's not the same as what he saw in Anakin. She is strong, and now disillusioned with the Jedi, exactly the kind of person he could turn into a powerful weapon. He approaches her subtly, offering sympathy and understanding. He plays on her anger and feelings of abandonment, whispering promises of power and control. Ahsoka, still reeling from Anakin's death and the Jedi's betrayal, is vulnerable. Palpatine's words soothe her wounded soul. He speaks of the Jedi's limitations and their failure to protect those they claim to serve. Slowly, Ahsoka begins to listen. Driven by a desire to prove the Jedi wrong, she starts to embrace the dark side. Palpatine, sensing Ahsoka's conflicted emotions, manipulates her further, suggesting that her suffering stems not just from the Jedi's betrayal, but specifically from Plo Koon. He reminds her that Plo Koon was the one who found her, the one who brought her into the Jedi Order, starting the chain of events that led to her current pain. Palpatine twists the truth, convincing Ahsoka that Plo Koon is directly responsible for all the hurt she has endured. This final manipulation pushes her fully to the dark side. Ahsoka becomes consumed by revenge. She blames Plo Koon for her suffering, seeing him as responsible for not supporting her and for bringing her to the Jedi Temple, which she now sees as the source of her pain. In her twisted mindset, Plo Koon represents everything she despises about the Jedi Order. Ahsoka attacks him from the shadows, using a ship to ambush him while he is flying. The assault causes Plo Koon to crash, and the aftermath of the attack is made to look like an accident. His sudden death, combined with Anakin's earlier loss, deals a severe blow to the Jedi Order. This killing means that Ahsoka has now been completely consumed over by the dark side. Ahsoka transforms into a warrior of the shadows, operating outside the Jedi and Sith boundaries but loyal to Palpatine alone. She wields her lightsabers with skill. Ahsoka takes on missions that require her unique skills, covert operations, and sabotage that helps Palpatine destabilize his enemies. As the Clone Wars progress, Order 66 is executed, and Palpatine announces himself as Darth Sidious. The Republic is crumbling, and Ahsoka plays a pivotal role in its downfall, her actions driven by hatred and the dark side's pull. During the height of the Jedi Purge, Obi-Wan is assigned to confront Ahsoka. When they finally meet, Obi-Wan is taken aback by the sight of his former ally turned dark. For a moment, he sees the young Padawan she once was, the Jedi who fought alongside him. But the hatred in her eyes tells a different story. Ahsoka's anger is palpable, fueled by her belief that she has been betrayed by everyone she once loved. Obi-Wan tries to reach her, pleading for her to come back, trying to save her just as he wished he could have saved Anakin. He fights not just with his lightsaber, but with his words, desperately hoping he can pull Ahsoka back from the dark side. But Ahsoka is beyond reasoning. Her mind is clouded by the dark side, and she sees only betrayal and lies in Obi-Wan's words. Obi-Wan realizes that he has no choice. He must stop Ahsoka, not only to protect himself, but to prevent her from causing more destruction. Unlike his battle with Anakin, this fight is shorter and less intense. Ahsoka, though powerful, does not have the same raw strength and skill that Anakin had. The duel is fast, but Obi-Wan's experience give him the upper hand. He defeats Ahsoka, and in a heartbreaking moment, he strikes her down and ends her life in an act of mercy to free her from her suffering and hatred. Mace Windu could not die by Anakin, and through his help, Yoda and he confront Palpatine. With Windu's help, Yoda is able to hold his ground against the Sith Lord. Their combined strength proves to be a formidable challenge for Palpatine, and after a fierce battle, they manage to overcome him. The Sith's defeat marks a turning point, but the galaxy remains in turmoil, as the remnants of the Empire continue to threaten any semblance of peace. But as they think victory is at hand, a new threat emerges. If you enjoyed this Star Wars story and want to see more, make sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments what you think would have happened. May the Force be with you.